So I'm not anti-mid-drive. I own 2 of them. But after working on hundreds of e-bikes, I've got a chance to learn some things that most folks don't get to learn. So I'm 60 years old. I work part-time at a bike shop, mostly because I love it. I retired years ago, and this keeps me active, keeps me in the know. I've put together hundreds of e-bikes, repaired, I'm not going to say hundreds, a lot to cause knuckles and arthritis to pop up in my fingers. Enjoy these things. I own 5 e-bikes. 2 of them are mid-drives. We use our bikes for vacationing, sightseeing, just so many things to keep us active outdoors. But something you need to know is that what mid-drives are selling, you probably don't need to buy. So let's get into those items. One of the biggest problems I see with mid-drive e-bikes is drivetrain wear. With a mid-drive, all the motor's power goes through the chain, cassette, and derailleur. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but these mid-drive motors can easily be 5 to 10 times more powerful than a regular rider. So that chain that was designed for a regular rider is carrying 10 times more load. Over time, that extra torque shows up as worn chains, damaged cassettes, and bent components. And if the chain breaks on a mid-drive, the ride is over. There's no way to easily limp home. With a hub drive motor, you can ride that bike even without a chain. Another concern is shifting under load. Mid-drives require good shifting habits, but most casual riders don't ride that way. We're sightseeing, we're cruising. Even with a shift sensor, there's a little delay and that power is still moving through the drivetrain. That crunch you hear sometimes isn't normal. It's real-time wear happening. Cost is a big factor. Mid-drive systems are more expensive than hub drive motors. You're paying for a more complex system, and that complexity usually carries a higher cost for repairs. For riders who don't actually need the benefits of a mid-drive, that extra cost doesn't translate into a better riding experience. Torque is another issue people don't talk about very much. High torque mid-drives can damage rear cassettes, especially the smaller cogs where the chain doesn't have much tooth engagement. On my own high torque mid-drive, I've actually changed the gearing so it doesn't go into the smallest cog because it puts too much stress on the drivetrain. That's not something most riders expect to deal with. Finally, there's ground clearance. Mid-drive motors hang low near the bottom bracket. The weight being low is good, but there is a trade-off, and that's exposure. On rough terrain, curbs, rocks, or trail obstacles, the risk of striking that motor is real. It's not common, but when it happens, it can be expensive. Alright, so I said a bunch of negative stuff, but when does a mid-drive actually make sense? Mid-drives absolutely have their place. Serious single-track riding, like technical trails or places such as Moab, where I've been recently, is a perfect example. Another place that it makes sense to have a mid-drive is on a cargo bike, when you're moving heavy loads and the rider is actively shifting to keep that motor in the right gear. In those situations, a mid-drive's ability to leverage the bike's gearing is an advantage. So if you want more honest e-bike advice, I'd love it if you hit subscribe. I'm going to be sharing more wisdoms that I've learned in this bike rack behind me, along with taking you on some trips that my wife and I have done. I love these e-bikes. I think they are the way of the future. Keep pedaling.